lovely watchers, and welcome to my favorite books of 2014 video. For the past year, I've actually read a total of 133 or 34, I'm not exactly sure because I have a couple of days left, and I've accumulated around 20 something favorites. Not all of them are all-time favorites, but they're favorites of this year. So most of them are actually, pretty much all of them are 5-star reads. I'm pretty much dividing this based on genre. First, I have the YA big genre, and in that I have contemporary, which includes just everyday life as well as mystery. Then paranormal, which includes it does include some historical in the paranormal, but the main theme is paranormal. I've got fantasy / high fantasy. And then I've got dystopian, and the last thing is chiclets. It's really surprising that this year chiclets made it onto this list, which is pretty awesome for me because I have not been reading any chiclets in the past several years, but I'm making it a goal to read so much more next year. For this year, I only managed to read 13 adult novels, so I want to up that to around 20 to 30 of next year. Without further ado, let's get started. The first subgenre or genre is contemporaries. I've actually got 7 contemporaries that made it on my favorites list. The first is Nearly Gone by L. Cosimano. I read this back in October and I was so surprised by how thrilling the mystery is and how smart the main protagonist is and how there's science as well as math infused in the mystery. So this is definitely a book I would be recommending to mystery fans everywhere. Then we've got To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This pretty much made it to the list of over 50% of bloggers and people that I know. This book, oh my god, so many people love this book, and you know, it's warranted. This book is amazing. The plot is fantastic. The main protagonist is half Korean, half American, which is awesome. She's very fun, she's quirky, she's cute. The whole plot was great. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, this is definitely on my favorites and also my all-time favorites. And this is one of my top 5 favorite books of this year. Then we've got Rites of Passage by Joy N. Hensley. This book blew me away, guys. It is around 400 pages, actually 401 pages, and I thought I was gonna take, you know, a couple of days to read it, but I ended up reading it in one single day because of how amazing it is. It is military-based themed, so kind of like Cadette Kelly, but the main protagonist is totally kick butt. She's a military brat, and there's mystery in there too, which was really surprising to me. I really liked it, and everything about it was perfect. This is also on my top 5 favorite books of this year. Then we've got a late arrival to this favorites list, and it's Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I read this in December actually, and I loved it. It was so fun, it was so cute, and I could really relate to Emily. She's shy, she doesn't like being in the center of attention, and I really hate that, especially around like people I don't know. So this bucket list, the bucket list in this book was brilliant. It was great. I loved it. This is such a perfect friendship book and, you know, discover yourself kind of book. The next book that made it on my favorites list is Biggest Flirts by Jennifer Eccles. I mean, I think every year Jennifer Eccles makes it on this list. Maybe not last year, but this book was all kinds of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of between NA and YA, if I'm being honest. And this is book 1 in the super latest. I've already read the second one, but this one is definitely my favorite. And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I love the main protagonist. I like how flawed she was, and I just like the progression of the plot. Then we've got #Scandal by Sarah Auckler. One of my favorite books is by Sarah Auckler, and it's 20 Boys Summer. But ever since then, I've read several of her books, and I couldn't really enjoy them. So this was sort of like a last attempt for me to try to get back into the love for her, and it totally did. I again read this in a single day, could not stop reading it. It was that good. And there's also a lot of mystery, and this kind of reminded me of Anna in terms of the romance. So definitely a great book. I know a lot of people did not like it, but I personally loved it. The last book on this contemporary list is Breathe, Annie Breathe by Miranda Keneally. This book, oh god, it was all kinds of, my emotions were everywhere for this book. It's sad, it's hopeful, it's bittersweet. Honestly, I loved it. I teared up several times reading this book, but in the end, it has like a hopeful, happy ending. The journey that the main protagonist took in this book was just, it was breathtaking. I love the running theme in the book. I love themes in my books, especially my contemporary books, because they don't have like complex, you know, different made-up worlds or like paranormal aspects, so you kind of need a theme to make your book stand out more. And if you'll notice, most of the books that I did show you kind of had themes, but I love the running theme here. Moving on to my next pile, and it is my paranormal pile. I personally am so surprised that so many paranormal books made it on this list. If you check my favorite books of 2013, you will barely see a single paranormal on there. So I actually have 7 here. Surprise, surprise. Let's get started. First one is Sister's Fate by Jessica Spotswood. The second book actually made it on my favorites list of last year. This one definitely made it on this list because I'm showing it to you. It's really good. It's the conclusion to the Cahill Witch Chronicles. It's a series about witches in the olden days. I think it's set in the 1800s. I love it. Let's see where it's set. It doesn't say. But I'm pretty sure it's set in the 1800s. Kind of like follows a Salem witch hunt kind of thing. So the witches are hunted and they're feared. And there's a brotherhood. But it's amazing. I love this book. I love the main protagonist. I love everything about it. And the series, definitely recommend it. Funny thing here is that I have 2 series with 2 books that made it on this list. So let's show you. One of the series is the Dispossessed series with the Beautiful and the Cursed, as well as the Lovely and the Lost. I actually made a double review of these 2. I will leave the link for the video down below. This series isn't just paranormal. It's a crossover between historical, paranormal, as well as some fantasy elements. There are gargoyles involved, some people have powers, and it's set in Paris in the olden days. Like, isn't that like a perfect recipe and a formula? Plus, the author, Paige Morgan, adds it all together in such a brilliant way that it doesn't feel like there's too much going on. So I read the first one, I was so addicted, and then I picked up the second one straight away, and I'm like, okay, automatic favorite. Let's move on. Another series that made it on my list is the Rephaim series with Shadows as well as Haze by Paula Weston. This is a 4-book series, unlike the Dispossessed series. The 3rd book is already out in Australia, but it comes out in Canada and the US in June, while the 4th book comes out in 2016, but it comes out very soon in the UK. So I don't know if I can wait. But this series is definitely paranormal. There are angels going on, kind of like a fallen angel theme, but done in such a way that you're just addicted. See how big this book is? By the end of it, I was so enthralled and like addicted that I flipped to the next page hoping there's another chapter, but it ended. So it's that kind of book that you read, it's like 500 pages, but you want it to be like 800 pages. That is this kind of series. One thing to note is that the characters feel very adult in a way that they're mature. They're not typical 16-year-olds. They're not 16, I think they're 18. They're actually 100 something, let's be real, because they're fallen angels. But I do like the writing. I like how mature the writing is without like the explicit scenes, so kind of NA-ish again. Definitely recommend it to any fans of reading. Like, I can't tell you just paranormal because I wouldn't have picked them up if it was just for the paranormal. Haze is also on my top 5 books that I've read in 2014 that have been published in 2014. So I forgot to mention that before. The top 5 that I mentioned are all the ones that were published in 2014 only. Then we've got a spin-off to a series I read years ago, and that is Sinner by Maggie Stiefvater. I read the Wolves of Mercy Falls series way before I even started blogging, 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I think as soon as Forever came out, actually. And I did enjoy them, but then like my reading sort of matured and I felt they were kind of childish. But then this one, God, honestly, even if you didn't like The Wolves of Mercy Falls, I would still recommend this series because St. Cole in this book is amazing. I don't like books from male point of views. I don't generally connect with them, but for this one, I was so addicted. I couldn't stop reading it. And I think I also read it in a single day. Definitely 5 out of 5 stars. The last book in this favorites list is actually a sequel, and it is Unmarked by Cami Garcia, the second book to Unbreakable. This is also paranormal, kind of, people have been comparing it to that, Supernatural. They have been comparing Supernatural. They're like demon hunters. I love the main protagonist. I love the crew of 5 teens that are hunting these demons, trying to, solve the mystery. It was such a good book. Definitely lived up to the its predecessor. 5 out of 5 stars. The next pile of books are the fantasy / high fantasy books. So I have several. The first is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I read this whole trilogy this year. This is definitely my favorite out of the whole trilogy. I loved the world. I loved the fantasy element. I loved the Grisha, empire. It was done in such a fantastic way. This will definitely always be one of my favorite books. Then we've got, the rest are all sequels. There is Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater, the third book in the Raven Cycle Quartet. I had such high hopes for this book after The Raven Boys and the Dream Thieves. Totally lived up to my hype. Perfect. It's a kind of book that, you know how if you blog or review books, there's this thing where there's like a ticking clock in your head where you're like, I need to finish as many books as possible. So sometimes you don't really take your time and enjoy the books. But as soon as I started reading this book, I was sort of immersed in the whole world, and I didn't care how long it took me. It felt that way, that it kind of made me slow down, and books that do that are very rare. Kind of like Haze by Paula Weston. So I took my time with this book. I still ended up reading it really quickly because I was just really addicted. And I'm just in love. And one word, Gansey. The book before the last in this pile is The Retribution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. I mean, did you think this book wouldn't make it? Because obviously it would. This is the third and last book in the Mara Dyer trilogy. I've been waiting 2 years for this book. So I got it literally the day it came out, the morning it came out, and I read it, I devoured it, I loved it. Perfect ending to this perfect trilogy. The last book is Dark Triumph by Robin Lefevers. I'm actually pre-filming this, so there's a big chance that I will love this book and it is going to be in this video, but I did film it 2 ways. So if you're seeing this, then this is definitely a favorite. I can't tell you much about it because I haven't read it yet. I'm like 4 pages in, but I did read Grave Mercy and it was amazing. So I'm sure this is going to be amazing if you're watching this video. Then we've got my chick lit books. There are 2 books in total. The first is The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes. This is the only book that is not rated 5 stars that is in this video. I gave this book 4 stars, and actually I gave my other one 4.5, which I will show you. But it's such a memorable book. It's the kind of book that keeps you thinking and getting back to, so I might bump up the rating, but it's a huge chunk of a book. I was so confused at the beginning. I was even thinking of DNFing it, but then after I got through that beginning, I couldn't stop reading it, and it's perfect. My first Marian Keyes book. I have 3 of hers. I will definitely be reading one of them soon. The last book in the chick lit pile is 1+1 by Jojo Moyes. This book was given to me by review. A lot of these books were review books actually, and I loved it. I think this started my love for Jojo Moyes. I'm definitely picking up Me Before You in January, and this was such a fun road trip, chick lit, adult actually, it's more adult novel, and I loved it. I loved the mom, even though she was annoying at times. However, I did love her son as well as daughter, stepson actually, and her love for them. It was really obvious. It was kind of heartbreaking with her story, with her husband and what happened to her, and pretty much the whole world crapping on her. But I did love, as I mentioned, the road trip and her meeting this really rich British guy and them going on a road trip. It's just really funny, as well as emotional at times, and I feel like Jojo Moyes does that best. So I'm very excited to pick up Me Before You, which is right here, next month. The next pile and the last pile is actually the dystopian pile. Unfortunately, there are only 2 books in this pile. I've noticed a very dramatic decrease in my love for dystopian books over the years. If you see 2012, there's so many amazing dystopians that I read that I was in love with. But then you see 2013 and you're like, okay, it's still an adequate amount. And then 2014 it's like 2. God knows how much it's going to be in 2015. Though there are some great dystopians that are coming out next year by some really good authors, especially authors of books of great dystopians that have finally finished this year. The first book is The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa, the first book in the Blood of Eden trilogy. I've read Immortal Rules, Eternity Cure, The Forever Song, love them. This comes first out of the trilogy, but The Forever Song comes very close to it. And I love the hybrid paranormal dystopian mesh that Julie Kagawa created. And I think I'm in love. I really want to pick up Talon, but I don't like her Iron Face series, so I'm kind of hesitant even though I love this series. So we'll see about that. The last book is my all-time favorite book of this year, whether it's books published in 2014 or just books I read in 2014. And I'm pretty sure you guys can guess what this book is because, I mean, it's obvious, right? Right? I mean, even the publisher, when I tweeted them, knew that this would be my favorite book of 2014. Any guesses? It's Ignite Me by Tyrone Maffey, the third and last book in the Shadow Me trilogy. This book, guys, honestly, it's one of my favorite books ever. I have been meaning to reread this. Actually, I met Tyrone Maffey, and then when she saw this, she was like, dedication. I'm like, if only you knew how much I love this series. So I did get this signed. I had a choice of any of her books, but of course I picked Ignite Me, like without a doubt. Why would I pick anything else? Right here, it's signed by the lovely Tara Mafi. That just makes me so happy. So this book, I mean, do I need to say more? If you have not started this series, definitely do. I love the lyrical prose in this book. Tara Mafi's writing is magical. I don't think there's any way to explain it better, but it really is magical. And I love every single one of these characters. I just love everyone's development in the whole series. So definitely recommend you guys checking this series out. So this is it. These are all the books that I read and loved in 2014. It comes to around 15-17% of the books that I've read, which is pretty good because I don't think I had this much last year. I'm pretty happy with all the books that I've read. I like that I didn't really just read contemporary, and I've read many other genres that I loved, which makes me happy. Let me know which are your top 5 favorites of this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a nice day. Bye!